Well, we're really pleased this evening to have Jose Madera with us. He is the director of the Pasadena Community Job Center, and he's going to help us to understand a little bit about the work that he's doing. And also, we're looking at the protocols that we've developed at Orange Grove Meeting in case ICE were to come to our meeting house and try to detain immigrants. So we're really pleased to have you with us today. Jose, please share with us. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, hello everybody. First again, yes, Joe's in my thoughts and prayers. Again, it's always a blessing to see her in all the spaces, and I know she's a fighter, so here with y'all. And also again, very blessed to be here with all of you. Thank you for also all the work that you all do. I know we're in a very difficult time, all everything that's been happening again all this year, but it's always very beautiful and refreshing and healing to see many in our community being there and showing to folks that we're not alone and that no one's alone. So thank you for all the work that you all do, taking the time, all your energy, all your spirit to support our most vulnerable community members. And again, it's going to take all of us to support. Again, we have government that's failing us. We have the courts that are failing us, but we can't fail us. And that's what we're seeing with the work that you all are doing. So thank you for being there for the whole community, and let's continue this work. I'm very glad to be here with y'all. I've been with y'all in different spaces. So it's always awesome, thank you for the invitation to come and share some words and share space with all of you. One again at Endalon, just to let you know some of the things that we've been working on. I think last time I went to your meeting, we were beginning some of the stages of the Adopt a Corner. So we have this campaign, Adopt a Corner or Adopt a Home Depot, where folks are organizing in front of a Home Depot and being there, being present, getting to know the day laborers. Because right now, again, immigration raids are focused on day laborers, street vendors, and car wash workers. Those were the major raids have happened. So that's why we've been working on these campaigns to adopt a corner for people to adopt a corner, especially where they live, if they live close to Home Depot. Because it's very important for people to organize where they're at and where they're from. Again, and we see that as building community also. So if you have a Home Depot that you live close to, again, there's probably a Home Depot that's already been created and we can connect you to them. Just let us know. And right, so far we have 140 Home Depots that have been or corners that have been adopted all over the nation. And again, that's a very beautiful thing because it's creating community and is protecting the day laborers that are there. And it's for folks to be there, share, know your rights information. Also, when there is a raid, document what's going on. Every adopter corner is autonomous, so they have different ways of how they organize. But again, when a raid happens, there's someone documenting, there's someone being there with the person that's being taken, so we can see who's being taken, and so we can provide legal support. And there's people that are telling rapid response teams, and again, the whole community comes. So it's a very unique organizing space. But again, it's building community. We've been hearing stories of where neighbors who have never talked to each other and they've seen each other, but they are now going to this corner and they're organizing together. So again, it's this beautiful space of just creating community and building community. So that's one of our main campaigns that are happening right now. And then also we have, which we just started a few weeks ago, is for the Dodgers not to go to the White House. I'm a big Dodger fan. Um, Always been a big Dodger fan, me and my family, but they've been complicit in what's going on, and haven't said anything. So as a longtime Dodger fan, we're holding them accountable. So we're asking them not to go to the White House. and not to shake the hand of the person and the administration that's causing all this suffering. So we have a online petition. If you go to isideofla.org, there's a petition there for the Dodgers not to go to the White House. There's over 18,000 signatures that we've gotten so far. We want to go get to at least 55,000. That's how much Dodger Stadium can hold. So we can say like, hey, look, a whole stadium is saying that for you not to go to, the White House. But if we can get more, again, we can get more. But that's one of the escalating things that we want to do. And I think we can get to at least 50,000 signatures. Um, so that's one thing. Another thing is, and we're getting more information, and I'll let um, Alexandra and Anthony know more. But we have an action in November 22nd. It's a small little action. We're still trying to get the logistics, but if people can put it on their calendar, and we'll give you more information on what that action is, to support the day laborers at Home Depot's. Um, but yeah, those are some of the works that we're doing. Again, you can always follow our Instagram, Facebook. We also have an email list for folks to know what the different actions and different work that we're doing as Endelon, again, national organization in different cities. But especially we're very based here in Pasadena, so we're always doing different things here in Pasadena and LA in general. But again, those are some of the things that we're doing. I don't know if folks have any questions about those specific things. If not, we can talk about the protocols.
Um, could you put a link in the chat about how we can be involved with that petition about the Dodgers?
Yes, let me. I'll put the link. There's the link for that. And then I also put the link for Adopt a Corner. So again, anyone, and you can share it to anyone too, this Adopt a Corner information. If someone somewhere else lives in another state or another city, but wants to join a Adopt a Corner, they can fill out a questionnaire, and then we'll connect them with an Adopt a Corner that's already been organized. Or if they want to build one, we'll send them all the information that they need to organize a corner. Just try, okay, here we go.
I have a question.
That's the Adopt a Corner. Yes.
Um, are you still delivering groceries and essentials to people who are concerned about leaving their homes?
Yeah, so we have our food bank that's every Friday from 8 to 12. We recently people have like 300 families have been coming, 300 to 400 families have been coming. And there's still some families that are again scared to come out. So we do have a delivery system. If you are interested and able to support in that, I'll put the email of the person that's in charge of the food bank, and you can contact them. There's the email. Her name's Swani. She's again leads the food bank and is organizing the deliveries.
I noticed that Jacob has raised his hand. Do you have a
Yes, Jacob.
question, Jacob?
I have a question. My question is if we're at the meeting house and I know you've been here, but the Orange Grove Plaza across the street, I was wondering if there had been a community that organizes or that if that corner has been adopted.
It hasn't been adopted like in the sense of there's a canopy or a group there. There's rapid response teams that are going around. There is one like here and there that operates on Garfield and Orange Grove. At times they set a canopy and resources. But I know there's been there and they've been having some capacity um issues. Again, people started working, and especially when school started, the capacity of people decreased. So that's why we're always looking for new folks who can support in that. Um, and there used to be a Vallarta one too, but there was a capacity there. And then at times there's one at Altadena by Good Neighbor Bar, where there's a group there that puts up a CDC, which is a community defense corner. But there hasn't been one right there at the plaza that you're speaking out. It would be great to have one there because they've raided that place before. That
Yeah.
was one of the first raids in Pasadena. Um, and an update on that one, I don't know if people know. So when that raid happened, what we did is a vigil. We did it that day after the raid, one to let people know what happened, and also to uplift the voices of the families that were taken, and also to find out more information of who was taken. Because when the raid happened, we didn't know the information of who was taken. At the time of the vigil, we had information, think of two people, but we didn't know the other two. And the video was going around and everything. When the vigil happened, the family came out and like, oh, that's my family member that was in that video. So we were able to locate the four people that were taken. And again, that's the importance of the community organizing. And then also the three people that were taken or kidnapped in that raid are now the lead plaintiffs in the lawsuit against the government. Um, and hopefully, again, that's going to be a long fight, but it's part, again, how important the community is and community organizing to all the things that are happening. The legal fight can happen without the community organizing. And again, that started right there here in Pasadena, which is a big thing in this legal battle. And again, the community played a big role. So again, the three people and those four people that were taken are home now. We were able to fight their case. They're out on bond, supporting their families. So yeah, they're out. So again, that's a big part because of the community
That was an
effort.
amazing action, by the way. Like thousands of people showed up. The
Mhm,
Orleros del Norte played cumbia. Our mayor
mhm.
was there, religious leaders, and it made a big impact. I think it really brought the community together, and it's still together. I see a question from Marianne. You raised your hand, and if you don't, please turn your audio off if you're not asking a question.
Okay, now it's on. Hi, I'm wondering about the school district here. I know LAUSD did a lot at the beginning of the year to protect kids and their families. I called Pasadena USD and they said, oh no, we don't have anything like that. So I called one of the school board members and said, why don't we? Do we not need it? And she said, well, we need it, but there's some people who think we don't. And I'm just wondering, has your organization had interaction with the school board?
Yes, with the district, we've been letting them know, because they did send a message, um, months ago saying that they stand with families, and we were like, okay, that's great. That message is great too, but we also need to see action. We need to put that in practice. Like, how are you going to protect the families? Not just say that you stand with families, which again, it is important, but it's how. Um, they were saying that they gave some training to some staff. Um, we talked to some staff and they said some did, some didn't. So it's like you need to give training to everybody. And also for all schools to have protocols. So for the most part, it's the schools who are kind of leading it or are doing it on their own. And then at some schools, it's the parents that are leading it and doing it on their own. So it's a mix of different things. We're telling the district it has to come from you. It has to come from the top so that everyone has it. And you have to be more, um, like you have to do more about it, not just give out a message. Um, so the rapid response teams, one, the school that we work close with is Madison because it's really close to where we're at, and I know it's very close to where you're at. Um, the rapid response team has kind of adopted the school. So every time drop off and when school finishes, there's the rapid response team, which is a Grupo Alto Defensa. They're all going around. But something that we've been telling the school and the district is let's have a more formal partnership because we want to protect everybody. So the school has a protocol. Like if ICE comes, they're shutting down the school. They have, certain protocols in place, but we're asking them to do more partnership with the community because one is great that they have the protocol that protects everyone that's inside. But we're also saying, well, what about the people outside? So if a parent goes and drops off their kids, the kids go inside, but then the parent's still outside and ICE comes and picks them up and the school's closed, what happens to the parent? So that's why there has to be a more formal communication and organizing within the community and the school and the district in general, but at least the community and the school. So that's something that we're still trying to have conversations. Right now, still again, the rapid response team have taken on themselves to just go around um, and just go around again when there's drop off and when there's pickup. There are, I think, it's Longfellow who's the parents are organizing. So they've organizing patrols when there's drop off and pickups. So it's the parents groups that are doing that. Um, and there's different other schools that kind of have some similar things. But again, it would be wonderful if the district itself does more and says more. Hey, we need to do this.
Have you
And
attended any school board meetings, or do you think that would help?
I think any pressure will help. We've been to some community meetings where the district is there and school board members are there and we're like, hey, this is what we should do and let's meet up or let's do whatever it needs to happen to do it. I think one, because some of the raids have calmed down, some of that conversation, they're like, oh, well, that's not the top priority. Right now, especially right now with the whole funding and budget, um, that's what their top priority is. But we're still trying to have more conversations where we're, hey, let's do more. Because one, we expect raids to keep happening.
Mhm.
And again, when that first raid happened right by Winchell's,
Mhm.
it was a block away from the school. So there's the fear, there's all that, what happened that day. So that's why, back to Jacob's question, it would be great to have some type of um, adopt a corner there. Because one, we expect them to come back. We expect them to, because usually in many of the raids that they've been doing, they go to the place again. They've gone to multiple times at certain Home Depots. They've gone to many certain car washes. So we expect them to come back to that shopping center. And because of the organizing that we're doing and how the community is organizing, again, they're like, oh well, let's try to break that. So there's it's not if, it's probably when they're gonna come back. So that's why we have the rapid response high and alert always in that area. Like today there was some drones that people were seeing around the area, and the rapid response team activated and responded, and we found that it was someone filming a construction site for their purposes, um, marketing purposes. But that's how intense also the community is, and like, and then just still hearing they're Glendale, they were at Glendale yesterday, they were at Glendale, or they were in Burbank, I think today. Um, they've been in Monrovia a few times, so they're like around the area. Um, so yeah, so one, it'll be great to have a defense corner on that corner to support the day laborers that are there, but also the school, Madison. Um, mhm.
So
Thank
I
you.
think that, thank you. I think that at this point, we need to get into our main topic today, though that was really important information about what we do should ICE show up at the meeting house.
Yeah, so the again, and I showed this to the lawyer. And again, it's great. It's a great protocol. And again, thank you for doing this. Not many spaces have a protocol, and a well-written protocol like you have it. I think it's really great. Again, the lawyer didn't have any issues, or anything I'd like to add. I think it's really well written. About the question. If ICE comes and lines up and asks people to line up, right? That's the main question that the group has, right? He was mentioning, so one is being strategic. One, he doesn't expect, and again, me myself, I'm not giving legal advice because again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just sharing information. But something the lawyer was mentioning, doesn't expect for ICE to ask people to line up, who has document and who doesn't have document at a space like yours. Um, they usually see that in like warehouse, um, work sites and things like that. But in case that does happen, again, it's great to be proactive. Um, One is again, like it says, one of the first things that says in your protocol, again, the rights that you have under the U.S. Constitution, right? You don't have to say anything. No one has to say anything. And I think you have red cars. You can also, again, always show the red cars. Um, One thing the lawyer was saying is being strategic is if you're in a group and ICE comes inside the space, one is just gathered together. Um, he's also seen spaces where they gather together and they just sing. You're at your space is a community space. You can sing or say a hymn or whatever or a prayer. Um, and he's seen that as effective of again you know where the space that you're in. And it's a way where everyone can kind of stay calm. Um, and I think you already have it lined up in case if ICE does come about the warrant, like you need to have a judicial warrant signed by a judge on the date of when they come. And if they're looking for a specific person, it has to have the name correctly, right? The date and the name correctly, and again signed by the judicial judge. And if they don't have it, they can't be in that in your private property. And I think also on your protocol, you put having signs. So make sure having signs that say what's private property and what staff can only enter, or only members can only enter. And that can be put up again in the outside lines or the outside if there's a fence, but also inside, where only employees or staff can go. So there's again your gathering space, but then there's also private spaces, where again people can go inside. And again, they can't enter if it's a private space. Only staff can enter that classroom, that closet or kitchen or whatever it may be. It's a private space within your building. So also putting that sign up, and also within your protocols, having no, if there's someone at risk that's there, them knowing that they can go into that private room in case ICE does come inside. Um, and then also assigning roles, in case ICE does come inside the building. And I think you have a few roles, but there's different roles that people can play. One is again the documentation, which is very important, having someone to document what's going on so we can see what rights ICE is violating. Also having, if again there is someone at risk, um, also what some people have also is someone to be there with them, letting them know like, hey, don't speak, don't say anything, don't sign anything. We're here for you. Also giving that emotional support. Um, uh, And also, if you do have someone that's a lawyer there or someone that can um, talk about the legal having someone assigned for that too. Um, and then also someone that is calling for support. If you have a rapid response or you have communication with the rapid response team or a CDC or a immigrant support group that's neighbors or someone else, other members, is letting them know like, hey, and having a line of communication with that group, like, hey, ICE is here. So then people can come and give more support. So having a person that specifically is calling or activating those lines of communication so people can come and support, like, hey, ICE has entered the meeting house. And people know that they can go and support. And then having a role after, like if someone is taken, what's the legal process to find out who was taken, contacting their families, and then also organizing so we can get the community to support the family. And then having a person of contact with that person that was taken, like their family member or a friend, whoever, again, we can, or you can contact, so again, they can provide that legal support or the community can provide that legal support. Yeah, any questions with that? I see, Alexander, that you have your hand. You're muted.
Sorry. I have a couple questions. What is the CDC?
CDC is the Community Defense Corner. So it's kind of like adopt a corner when people are adopting a corner, and they're there passing out know your rights information, providing space for community, and in case something happens, they activate.
Okay. I have to tell you, what you're saying is very, very helpful, like assigning roles. We hadn't really thought about all the different roles that you've mentioned, which which is real good. And then also, we don't have a private space. We don't have a staff only or employee only space in our meeting house. And we have one situation I know of, we have uh, an apartment for a refugee in our meeting, and he is documented, but he's in an apartment, and we have not been certain whether we should label that private property by that maybe would draw attention to that apartment. It's not connected with the meeting house. It's in a separate building that's about, I don't know, 70 feet away from the meeting house where he lives. So do you have any thoughts about whether we should label that private property?
I want to double check, but I would say yes, because I think anything that you label private property is private property because it's in the owner's discretion of what it is, what space that's being used for. So again, you can put a sign, I think in any space, what's private property or what's staff only or what's employees only space. So yes, you could definitely put that, but I can double check on that.
Yeah, and so we don't have, thank you. And I appreciate that. We don't have a space, like if we do have undocumented people, I don't know that we do, but if we do, in our meeting, attending, I'm wondering about, we have like some closets. We don't have a place that's really closed off. But I'm concerned about the issue of if we were to usher these people into a space that would let's say staff only or something like that, or unauthorized area or something. Is there a risk of being charged with, for the person, let's say, who's supporting the undocumented person, is there a risk of their being charged with a crime of harboring illegal immigrants?
One, I think the biggest thing and the first thing, right, that everyone says is one, don't say anything. You don't have to say anything. Um, because again, that protects you again under the U.S. Constitution. About that specific question, again, I can ask the lawyer just to get it more clear. But from what my understanding. Again, one is not say anything, so it cannot be used against you in any way. And again, your private spaces are your private spaces. And that's why one of the first things that you also ask is about the warrant. Do you have a warrant? If they don't have a warrant, they have no reason, they have no right to be in your space. They need to leave, right? And then again, then those other protocol things are activated. Again, asking the community to come, asking the different people that have the different roles to come, to put pressure on them, like, hey, we're organized here. If you don't have a warrant, you shouldn't be here.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle, you have a question. I see your hand up, and then Phil, and then Kim, and then Marianne.
If we are at the point where there has been an intrusion and someone is taken away, are there attorneys available to lend assistance? Are they on call?
So there is different organizations. Again, we have a few lawyers. One of the biggest issues right now with lawyers is the capacity, and it's everyone has so many cases and different things. So that's one of the biggest problems that we have right now. But again, there are organizations that we can contact. Again, here at the center, if what we've said is if anyone's taken in Pasadena, we would like to support. And then also, like I mentioned, one of the biggest parts of everything too is the community organizing. So that's why we have, when there's a raid or there's something, we have GoFundMe's that we help organize. We have those vigils that we help organize. And then those vigils, there's been collection of money. We just pass on a box and people put in money, and there's a few thousand that people were able to collect, and then we can use that for legal cost. So I think that's a big action that we can take. Again, how we activate the community to support these legal battles and again, these process. But again, there are different organizations, again, Cares and Chila, and us, that in public counsel that are offering some lawyers. But again, one of the biggest issues is a lot of lawyers are saturated right now with a lot of cases. But we are trying our best.
Phil, and then Kim.
Who's next?
I called Phil Way, and
Thank
then
you.
Kim Hopkins.
Yeah, okay. My one of my main concerns is I have a presupposition that ICE really is not interested in following the law. And if you get in a confrontational situation, tell them you can't come in here, you can't do that. Um, how do they respond?
Yeah, and I think that's a big a big question and a big comment too. Because initially all organizations were doing Know Your Rights workshop, right? Before the year started. What we were confronted with and how they responded was broken windows, broken, doors being even car doors and stuff. So yes, ICE is not following any, breaking the laws, violating people's rights, abusing their power and everything. So that's why it's very important for us to document all those things. That's why it's having someone there with their phones ready to document, and also how the community comes and puts pressure and organizes. I think many people have seen the different videos that have been going on social media where when ICE comes, the community just comes out in bunches and basically pushes them out, and put pressures on them. And I think that's an important aspect of how we get the community involved and get the community activated. And that's why, again, these protocols function very well, again, when we have many people. And again, I think you have a great amount of people that you can organize. You can call like, hey, ICE is here, come to the meeting house, and people show up. So that's how it's the organizing that has been very vital in the work that we're doing. Because again, the government's failing us, the Supreme Court, which we think would have reason and protect our constitutional rights. They're basically saying that racial profiling is okay. So that's where the community comes out and says like, no, this is how we protect each other.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Kim, you're next, and then Marianne.
Happened to Kim.
I can't hear you, Kim. You had a question?
Yeah, I can't hear. It seems like you're not muted, but maybe your microphone's not working.
All right, let's go to Marianne while he's working on his audio issue. Marianne?
Yes. What do you think about this? I have heard that if the identification, if there's no like ICE and you don't know for sure it's ICE or some other group that's vigilantes, that you should call local law enforcement to have them come out and identify whether they're actually ICE or not. What is your thought on that?
One, it's a good question. I think it's to everyone's discretion because one, what happens, what we've seen is when people do call the cops, they come, they talk to the person, and if they identify themselves as some type of agency, the cops just stand there and don't do much, right? So one, it's also discretion of how the relationship you have with law enforcement. But for the most part, what we've been seeing is, at least in Pasadena, I know in other cities, kind of the cops have been helping. They create a perimeter around when there's an ICE raid or they're kidnapping somebody, and in a sense, they're kind of supporting what's happening. Even though they say they might not supporting, and then I know there's been a lot of organizing and for cities or police departments to say that they're not working with ICE. And there's been a lot of organizing around that. But in the end, again, they can't do anything either. Like if they do identify themselves as some type of agency, the cops don't do anything. And it's also wanted to take into account is also the community where you're at. And then also if there is a person at risk, it's also how they feel. If another law enforcement comes and is their presence, it adds another level that could be scary or could be helpful. We don't know, but it's also to take those things into account.
So,
Kim,
but if they
oh, yes.
if they don't have any kind of identification, I mean, if they come in, they've got ICE on them. I guess you would not do that. But if there's if you have a question, if they're really ICE, should you?
I think it is an option to call
Okay,
the police department, but again, it's in every case by case and to people's
makes
discretion.
sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Situation.
So, Kim, are you ready? Can we hear you?
You're muted now.
Unmute yourself, please, Kim.
1 minute. Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Okay, this is all for a silly question, but maybe not. Okay, so in our library, which is a relatively small room, that's not really a good room for this, but there's a closet in that library, and I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm just wondering if we put a sign on the door that said for parishioners only, quiet room or meditation room or something like that.
Yeah, again, to whatever the homeowner or the owner's discretion, you can put whatever sign you can. And again, if it's a private area, you can put that, hey, this is a private area. Only staff can come inside.
That's what we need to say, only staff.
Only
With-
staff, right?
Yeah,
But we're parishioners. Would that
Yeah.
not be a similar type thing?
Or you could put that, I think that should work too.
Yeah.
okay, private for parishioners only.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
Okay,
good.
back to you.
Okay, are there any other questions? I don't see anybody with a raised hand.
Michelle.
Oh, Michelle? Okay,
Yeah, I'm back. Um,
good.
will the police ever check for a warrant to see whether it is judicial rather than administrative? Can we rely upon Pasadena police to do anything like that?
From what I know, I don't think they would say that's not their job to do that. Like they can come and identify, like if we're asking, hey, we don't know who this is, and that ICE agent identifies themselves, and that's all they're there for. I haven't heard anything where a police asks an ICE agent, "Oh, do you have a warrant or not?"
Thank you.
Most likely, also the ICE agent will say, "This is not your job. Like that's not your job to ask me if I have a warrant or not. I already showed you that I'm this law this law enforcement agency, and that's it." From what I know, but that's a good question, and then I can ask around too.
I see Phil has his hand up. You have a question again?
Yeah. Yeah, I have another
And then
question.
Alex.
What has been the experience in how ICE agents respond when you say you cannot come in here or you need a warrant or something of that nature? How do they respond?
From what we've seen, again, it's effective. Again, the signs and people letting them know, like, hey, you can come in here and making sure that those doors are closed. So if you do have an area that's open, it's securing that those places are closed. And if they can be locked, for them to be locked, because there is at times where some agents try to open a door, and if it's like, oh, very easy to open, then they can enter. But if it's closed, it's like they shouldn't be entering. And again, it's documenting that if they're like breaking doors, and which we have seen, not much, but we have seen them trying to break down a door, or trying to open a door. But that's why it's important to, again, if you have a space, try to close that door and lock it, and then again have those signs like you can't enter here unless you're a member or staff. But again, like we mentioned, they're violating all types of rights, all types of things. What the thing is, we should expect them to do anything and everything. So that's why it is really good to prepare.
Alex, you have your hand up. Next.
Yes. So our meeting house is really open to anybody who comes off the street and wants to be part of our meeting. So we're putting up signs saying it's private property and only people who are part of our Quaker meeting or who are in authorized activities, like we have AA meetings,
Mm-hmm.
are welcome, So we're saying nobody else should come in. So we're putting up these signs. They aren't up yet, but they should be up in a week or so. But then the search warrant that says, that we could say that they have to have a search warrant signed by a judge that's valid in terms of dates and stuff. But the fact is, because I'm thinking, our thought so far has been because anybody can walk off the street into our building, that really we don't have this legal protection regarding search warrants, that they don't really need a search warrant because it's open to the public.
Yeah, and that's something that is it's also tough because again, your space, you want it to be open and open to the community. Um, but again, that's it does open it up for anyone to come. So one is again having that decision if you want to modify that and how you can modify that. Again, for an ICE agent not to come because right now the way it is yeah, like you're mentioning and how you're explaining it, anyone can enter.
Mhm.
So it's finding ways in how either when there is an event happening or a meeting happening, having someone at the door that's checking people in, and having that door closed or something. And if someone comes, they're checking who's coming in.
Okay, thank you.
I see Mo Charles has raised her hand. Mo, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I was just thinking, would language like only parishioners and their guests, because if we use the term our guests, that could mean people who we rented the place out to meet. It could mean someone who wants to worship with us. But, if you're not a guest of someone in the meeting, then you wouldn't be allowed on the private property. Would something like language, something like that be reasonable, or, a little more of a container?
That's a good one, a good question too, because guess I can easily say, well, I'm their guest. And an ICE agent can easily say, oh, well, I'm their guest. If it opens up to that. That's what we've been seeing is, again, just parishioners or members or staff only can enter. And that's very specific and very.
Mhm. Alex, another question.
I think you're muted, Alex.
Sorry. Okay. I just wanted to respond to Mo's question. What we've done, Mo, is we have made signs that say only those here for Quaker worship or authorized activities authorized by our meeting are welcome.
Okay, we have we have 5 minutes. We had planned to meet for an hour. So if you have a really important question, this is a good time to bring it up.
Can anyone hear me at this point?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't raise my hand because I didn't think the microphone would work.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just asking legally, it would be interesting to me to say all are welcome except ICE. Specifically, they are forbidden. Is that even a legal option?
Yeah. I think you could put that. I think that's a cool sign too. But yeah, I don't think there's an issue or any legal ramifications with that.
Yeah.
I've seen those signs. Yeah, ICE not welcome. You can either pick them up or purchase them. Michelle, you've raised your hand.
Yes, we're grappling with this issue. On one hand, we have a sign that has been with us for decades that says all are welcome. Please come in. And we have not yet changed that because of our ministry. And that's part of who we are. We want everyone in. On the other hand, we have signs that say, private property, etc. So as a lawyer, I know we're giving out two different messages, and I'm afraid that we're not going to be protected on the other hand, legally protected, but we're also having to come to grips with what we firmly believe in. So I don't know that you can give us any hard and fast way of dealing with this, but have you had other circumstances where churches have had dual messages basically being given, and what's the reaction?
Well, one, from what I see and think in my experience, one, where that sign is all are welcome, you can also put a sign below except ICE, like Kim said, or except, however you want to put it. The other one again is having someone, because all are welcome. Someone can enter if the door's open. So you say, "Oh, all are welcome," then I can go in. But it's still your building. So if you have someone there and the door is closed, yes, all are welcome, but you still have someone that checks whoever's coming in. That's still a level of protection that can still happen.
Good point. Yeah, if a business and you close the door and lock it, burglars are not welcome, nor is ICE. So good point.
Exactly. Yeah.
I see Gary's hand is up. Gary?
Yeah, not a question. Just we're talking about these staff only things. And the library closet was mentioned. In all of the meeting house, that is the one room that's locked most of the time. It is not available for just members to walk into whenever they feel like it. It's often unlocked during meeting for worship. But that is the closest thing we come in the meeting house to a staff only room. Thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that. Well, we have gotten to 2 minutes of 8. We are, I'm really aware that Jose's been very generous with his time, giving up his evening for us, and I really, really appreciate you. You're always there for us, Jose. You're always there for our community. So I want to thank you. Does anyone else have a question, though, concluding question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure, Phil.
Yeah, actually, my question is of Meg and Jacob. You guys are the front line uh, in many respects because you're there. And I was wondering if you had specific questions with regard to your situation as being residents at the site.
That's a good question. I think well, two things come to mind. One, probably since we're at the end of the meeting, is maybe left for another time or for an email. But the first question that comes to my mind is because we're here and we're members of this community more broadly, how can we be of assistance outside of the meeting house? But that was addressed earlier a little bit with these sort of community assistance, mutual aid groups. And so we can talk further about that. And the second, I guess, is just to reiterate a question, which again might not be able to be answered here, but it seems like a good idea that we have a contact who is an immigration lawyer and a phone number that we can call if we need it. That's posted or just available to members of the meeting house just for general need. So those are my two, I guess.
I think those are really good questions, and I'm not gonna, we're always out of time, but we have AA groups that meet practically every night. And there's a possibility that there could be issues with them as well. So, but that's for another conversation about the use of our meeting house for non-Quakers who are our friends. So we're now at 8 o'clock. Again, I want to thank Jose and all of you for coming tonight. It's really wonderful to see so much concern for our immigrant neighbors and for our community. So I want to thank you. I'm going to turn off the recording. If some people want to stay on and continue to have conversation, that's fine, but I think this would be a good time to end. Are we all
Thanks,
good?
Thank
everyone.
you, Jose.
Thanks, Jose.
Thank you.
And no,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hallelujah.
And I posted
Thank you.
a LA rapper response number. And then also there's a organization called Immigrant Defenders who usually have a good